Hello. Happy Sunday. Sunday's strange now. I mean, all winter long, Sunday was football, right? And recently, hubby has replaced that, of course, with basketball. I don't watch it as much. There's really nothing right now that makes Sunday special for us. Happy Easter! Speaking of special, I thought about getting a Easter background and realized that I had to pay for it, so you're stuck with my butterflies, which I love. I've had for quite a while now. So yes, when I was last on, Wednesday morning, because I wasn't going to be here Thursday, we were heading out Thursday to go to a fiber fair in Greencastle, Indiana, and I had a wonderful time. We spent the night up there in a hotel just to make it a little easier on me so it's a 3-hour drive. So to drive up, do the fiber fair, and drive home is just beyond what I really want to do right now. I could do it, but this was nice. This was like hubby and I are doing in our retirement, a little bit of a getaway, just for an overnight meal out. Oh my gosh, I ate too much. I ate so much. Not so much on Friday when I went to the fiber fair. It wasn't much to eat there, and I got Pepsi, and because I got thirsty. Oh, I have so much to tell you. I'm going to tell you all about it. But I'm not going to talk this way. I'm going to talk while I'm spinning and tell you all about the things that I did and saw and came home just very excited and really, really, really enjoyed it. It was a great getaway. But here's the bottom line. First of all, I stayed in my budget so far. I'm still contemplating buying something, but haven't spent the money yet. Tell you all about that in a little bit. But the bottom line is, the more I talked to these people, more that I went to each booth and talked to the vendor and saw their happiness, their excitement, and talked to them, after a dearth of 2 years of doing this, it is just like plugging your plug into high voltage and getting a charge in about 15 minutes. It is so awesome. And I came home and wrote all about it in my little year spinning journal book, what I bought. And at the very end, I said, being with all these people, talking fiber for the 6 hours that I was there, seeing it, smelling it, being with it, among the people, seeing people doing things, it was like it confirmed to me that what I do, this fiber thing that I do, is really valid. It's really a thing. It's really important. It's really fun and special and unique and that sort of thing. And I really like that. The very thing that I'd pick out that was the most special of all was sitting down, talking to a vendor about what she was demoing, which I was real interested in, with a new spinner beside me. Now, she was a lady my age, but she had just started spinning, and she was just soaking up all of the information that this lady was giving her, just soaking it up. And and I was acknowledging that information, and every once in a while would make a statement or whatever. And when things kind of got quiet for a little bit, I said, I want to tell you that spinning has been part of my life for 13, 14, 15 years. I said, as a new spinner, I just want to let you know that this can happen, right? This will happen for you, can happen for you. And I said, I also want to let you know, as a new spinner, that I put out a podcast for quite a few years, talking all about spinning. And her face just lit up. She just said, I love listening to podcasts. Not many people do anymore, right? But it was at the right moment, right time, right place. And I know that I'm in fact, I took a piece of paper. She asked for a business card. I haven't carried a card forever. And it was not for, when I was carrying I had a business card. It was not for Yarn Spinner's Tales. Never even considered doing that. Might be something I treat myself to sometime. But the point is, I just took a piece of paper. I do make sure I have pen and paper in my purse, and I gave her the information on that piece of paper so she could find it. That was the best. I think that was the most exciting and fun part of it. The shopping wasn't shabby. Boy, I had a great time. I just, I didn't buy a lot. I distilled down my shopping goals. I really, truly only looked at tools and at fleece, and every once in a while, the booth presentation of something would catch my eye, and I would go talk to that vendor about it and compliment them and tell them why I thought that it was a good way to do it. And I'll talk about another one of those too, because that's another thing. But my point is, I wasn't just like, oh, look at that purple dyed fiber, I have to have that. No, I have enough of that. I'm planning to make purple dyed fiber, right? I have even enough white to be able to make a lot of purple dyed fiber. So I wasn't looking at yarn, although at one point, about 3/4 of the way through the day of just looking at booth after booth after booth, I turned to hubby and I said, maybe I'll just buy yarn. Done with it. But I didn't. He never gets my jokes either. He never is like, what? You want to buy yarn? Buy yarn. No, it was a joke. So, yeah, I didn't really shop for yarn. And I was somewhat picky about the fiber that I shopped for. I looked at everything, but, wasn't like, oh, of course it's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful, I have to have it. It's a given, pretty much a given. I'm going to like a fiber that I see at a fiber fair because of color or the type of fiber, or they put sparkle in it or whatever, right? It's a given, I'm going to like it. So I had to say no, and then I realized I was really, really looking at tools. And didn't buy any tools, but got a better handle on, I thought I had all the tools I ever needed. I got a little better handle on some things I want. One of them was a really nifty wooden knob thing. Okay, so it's a disc, and that hurts my shoulders to do that. Okay, a disc about that round with, really good polished wood, but the bottom of it had all these knobs, rounded, not soft, wood knobs, and it had a handle. So think of a stamp, right? Except that it's not carved into the wood, the knobs are out, and it's felting. Okay, this is for wet felting, which I've been talking about, I want to do, I've been planning a project, and what I always have used in the past is scrubbers and very plastic, needlepoint plastic, right, that has the big squares. That works pretty good too. I mean, it all works okay, but this was so nice. It was like very ergonomic, and then you would just right here and then go right here and then go right here. So I was like, yeah, I think that's a tool I want. I asked the guy who was standing there how much, and he said $65, and I just kind of like went, oh. Now I saw that in other people, right? And I don't know, there is two reasons for that. They don't have an idea of what specialty tools run. And the second thing is they're just not there yet for putting out that expense, right? So you see a glorious spinning wheel, and you say how much, and they say 1,300, and you say, oh, you know, because you want that for 500, maybe you have 300, or you know what I'm saying. There is always that moment where you go beyond what you are expecting or hoping to get that for. Now I can get past that very easily because I've done this over the years. I know what fiber tools run, specialty tool runs, but I also know instinctively what this guy said to me after I said that. He says, well, he says, I'll tell you what somebody once told me. He says, a wise person once told me you only buy a good tool once. And I said, yeah, I know. But right now, this isn't the highest priority in my mind. So, thank you. I'll think about it. So, yeah, there is the truth of that, though. I have tools that I've had as long as I've been spinning. My original spinning wheel, some things that just have come along, the carding, hand carders, and then I've added hand combs, and then the big Indigo Viking combs, my drum carder, which I paid $600 for, used and used and used and used and used, and it's still fine. So a good tool you only buy once. But anyway, yeah, it boiled down to looking at tools that I didn't think I need, but am thinking I might. And oops, she did it again. I bought a fleece. I'm going to turn the music down. It seems a little loud. Yes, I bought a fleece. Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, this is the best time of year to buy a fleece. Here's all my reasons. Take it or leave it. This is the best time to buy a fleece. They just sheared them, right? They're fresh. They haven't been sitting around on the grease and getting stuck together and getting more stinky and whatever. Second, the selection is huge. Everybody knows this is the best time. So the early fiber fairs are your best targeted audience, right? The people come there knowing this is going to be a large selection of fleece, and you ought to have some there. If you're a vendor and have sheep, you ought to have your fleece there too. So there was a lot of fleece. There always is at this. And this is an older, 30 years. This was its 30th year. It's an older fiber fair, and it was very, very much all about selling fleeces in the beginning. The yarn people got in here about, 15 years ago. And then the alpaca people came in about 8 years ago. And it makes it all the better. Makes it great big and lots to look at and something for everybody and that sort of thing. But it used to be all about sheep and fleece. And it still is. This particular fiber fair still is. So even though I said I am not going to buy another fleece, and add to that, I will never buy another Cormo fleece, I bought a Cormo fleece. This fleece, I believe, is going to be lovely, but I'm going to do two things to make sure of it. I'm going to wash it as soon as I get back from vacation. I'm going to, first I'm going to skirt it, get it separated and get it, and then I'm going to wash the entire thing. I am not going to let it sit at all, and I am going to start figuring out how I want to process it over the next month after I get it washed. So I am not going to lose this fleece it's been hanging around too long because I didn't know how to handle it. Also, I like the structure of the locks and everything better than the Cormo fleeces I have bought in the past. So I think I have a really good chance of getting a really, really nice yarn out of this fleece. It's white. Don't know if I'll leave it that way or not. But that is my lead in. Let's switch cameras because I'm going to show you the fleece. Okay, first of all, this is down by my feet, and this is the bag of it. The whole frippin' bag. It weighs 5 3/4 pounds. It is from a ewe by the name of Pamela. So I have Pamela to work with. This is Pamela's fleece. Pamela was not a lamb. Pamela was a grown, and for that reason, I think I have way better Cormo locks. It smells sheepy. So I'm going to pull these out, and I will be keeping these out as everybody can see. This is the prime bit. This is unbelievable for Cormo. This lock measures 4 inches. It is, more importantly, not a tiny corkscrew. There probably are going to be some of that on this fleece somewhere, but I have a lot of this kind of lock. And the crimp is just amazing. Of course, it's soft. It is unbelievably soft. But pull that off of there. Now, look at the crimp on that. Will that focus? It looks like a washboard, doesn't it? Look at the crimp on that. It's going to be marvelous. Yes, it is dirty. That will come out. I am not worried about it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about washing Cormo, because I talk to people about washing Cormo. In particular, the lady that has all these Cormo, she has a lot of Cormo sheeps, and I talked to her, and I also talked to a new processing mill that has shown up. They're up in Wisconsin, I think. They're not close, but any fiber mill is a good thing to know and a good thing to have. And I told both of them the same thing. I have trouble processing Cormo, and they both replied by yes, that is known to be a problem, because if you leave, both of them said this, if you leave any lanolin in there, it's going to make the whatever you're doing to process it get stuck and stop a little bit. You know, it in other words, you can say it two ways. It is so high lanolin, it's hard to get off all the lanolin out, or, you know, if you don't get all the lanolin out, then you're going to have trouble processing it. And, you know, this came from the person who's running mills too. That means you end up getting not a smooth product top coming out, or roving or whatever. You don't end up with a smooth product. You end up with areas that get stuck together, bunched together, and it's just kind of makes neps. You know, there's just a lot of things that little bit of lanolin is going to interfere with. Makes perfect sense to me. I said, well, you know, I'm totally aware. I do wash my own fleece, and I use hot water, and I use, you know, anything. I have tried Dawn, I've tried Orvis, I've just bought some Kookaburra. I've tried, you know, the Natalie Redding products, Scour the Scoundrel. Tried them all. I said, you know, it's just really hard to get that lanolin out of there. And they said that's because your water is hard. You don't have soft water. Now, if you know about the chemistry of soft water, you get it by running a water softener, which uses a salt, right? I personally don't like soft water for the household. I hate it when I wash myself a shower. I don't like the fact it doesn't feel like I can rinse the soap out. So I find it really interesting that everybody that I talked to said you need soft water. And then the lanolin will rinse away. And I'm like, but when I wash, it doesn't feel like the soft water lets the soap wash away. So the jury is still out on that. I have no idea. And at this point in time, I'm banking on two things. One, that I'm washing it quickly, right away, after I don't know when it was sheared, but it seems so, it's so soft. It doesn't feel like it's been subjected to heat to let the lanolin melt and then harden back on it, right? I'm banking on getting it washed right away, might help that. And hopefully, I'm going to Google into ways to catch rainwater and do my last rinse with rainwater. I don't know exactly how I'm going to set that up, but I figure, okay, they always say rainwater's soft. So, because it doesn't go in, your water gets hard by going through the ground and picking up all the chemicals in the ground. That's how your water gets hard. And we don't use a well, and we use city water, so it also has to do with what they're doing to that city water. Now, I do feel that my water is softer. It's not soft, right? I think it's better than our well water was. I definitely think the city water is better. So I have one step up from my well water right now. So there's a lot to think about, but I'm so excited. This is so pretty. It's just so pretty. The not so pretty areas look like this. Here is your not as wide locks. So this is going to be maybe in the back, on the belly, that sort of thing. This is not belly. I don't think so. They skirted this really good, but that is really, really nice. Another different kind of area, way dirty. This is the back end. I really shouldn't do this too much because I want to be able to unroll this outside to skirt it. That way you get the end, you kind of get the fleece in the shape of the animal. Because, they shear a certain way to take it off that way. So I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I wish I wasn't leaving tomorrow morning. That kind of upsets me that this is a trip I have to. I have other stuff I'm going to show. I think I'll wait and see if more people come by before I do that right now. I'm going to wipe the lanolin off my hands and start spinning. And what did I do with my fiber that I'm spinning? Here it is. It's right here. For a minute, I was going to have to get up and get it. So let me get situated here in my chair. So I was half turning towards the other camera. Need to fix this a little bit. Alright. Oh man, my shoulder hurts. Yeah, better. So this is California Red. It is a strain of sheep created by a U.S. gentleman, breeder, specifically for the West Coast, relatively recently. And good. I have it plugged in. The shepherd that raised this is in Arizona. This is her sheep. She also raises Tunis. Had an opportunity to buy a Tunis fleece, but it was on the discount table and clearly was there because it was definitely a meat sheep and not a fiber animal. It wasn't bad. Would have probably spun pretty nice. So the first thing I saw when I went in, by the way, this Fiber Festival has two main buildings. They also had one area. It is a county fair thing, and so they had a barn there that along the open part they could be undercover, but they were basically exposed outside. There were several vendors there, and then there was one tent. There's several food trucks. Plenty big. It's not the biggest I've ever been to. SAF would be that, but plenty big. But I got there about 11, and we left at 2. So in that time, I had enough time to go through the building and I did it twice. I went through once, and I was taking breaks periodically. Spent a fair amount of time sitting and talking to one vendor, and then went and took a break, had a Pepsi, and said, talked to hubby a bit and told him what I was thinking, and then did the second round where I was actually doing some buying. So the very first thing I saw, are you familiar with what I call a bingo cage? Looks like a great big thing that they would hand crank, reach in there and pull out a bingo ball. Mix it, pull out a bingo ball. It's an old-fashioned thing, right? But this is the premise. They had a wire cage like that, bigger, a lot bigger, with posts jutting inside, all around the inside of this. And what it was is a fiber rotator where you would take your fiber that normally you would pick right, pick the locks apart and the vegetable matter falls out. Instead of picking it by hand, you put it in there, and it was motorized, and it just rotates and rotates as long as you want, and opens that fiber up, just like picking does, and the vegetable matter falls out. Pretty genius. Big, would take up a huge amount of space. You'd have to have your own fiber workshop. To be honest with you, being a protected porch, I think I would put it on my porch. We do have electric out there. I have no idea what it runs. I need to look it up on the internet because I didn't bother asking. I knew right off the bat I wasn't going to buy it, but I was like, man, if I ever see something similar in an antique store at a reasonable price, because nobody knows what it is, like a fiber fair, like a bingo cage or something like that. They'd probably call it a bingo cage. Hubby could install the rods. Because in the processing of fleece, I always end up, unless I want to keep the locks intact, to spin by lock, I always end up picking it twice. Once before washing and once after. It's a lot of work. It's important work because you just don't get it washed clean. You don't open those. Open everything up. The next thing I actually stopped at was where I bought the fleece, although I didn't buy the fleece until the very end. I talked to her for quite a while and looked at all her fleeces. I also went across the booth which actually they must have had like four booths. They were huge. They have the mill, and they had a whole huge shelf full of dyed 4-ounce balls. And the only reason I didn't buy any, like I say, I didn't need fiber, but it wasn't real soft. They also had some fleeces, and she showed me what she considered her best fleece, and it was lovely. It was gorgeous. She wanted $110 for it. And, I know how much waste there is in a fleece. I can't go that high for fleeces. I think the most I spent was 75 for Bullwinkle, who that was a ram that was like 8.5 pounds, right? Um, I could not. Spend that much on a fleece. But the Westville Woolies, that's the name of the place that I got the fleece I did buy. I had made a mental note. I'm coming back. I don't think. She also had a really nice way of selling, breed specific to her, what she had. Just $10 a pound. You didn't have to buy the whole fleece if you didn't want to. She had various ones that were up to 5 pounds. So even if I paid $10 a pound, I'd still be in my budget, So for me, it would have been like buying the whole fleece. I probably would have bought the whole thing. And there was a Lincoln that, oh man, a Lincoln cross of some kind. It was crossed with something else, not a Cormo, but it was crossed with something else, and it was like the locks they had to have been 10 inches long, and they were pretty open, and it was a light gray. I was like, oh man, but I didn't like the touch. I didn't like the feel of it. On my intermission, when I was sitting out on a park bench talking to hubby about it, and he says, well, what are you deciding? And I laughed. I told him, I said, I am buying a fleece. And he knew why I was laughing, because I say it every year. I am not buying another fleece, and I buy one every year. Maybe I should just say, I'm going to buy a fleece, and then, I won't find one. But anyway, he says, well, what color are you going to buy? And I said, I don't pick it by color. I mean, yeah, sometimes the color is what does it. I said, but usually it's the type of fleece or just something. It's a whole package. The fleece can be white and be what I want, because I can make it any color I want. And I have been focused for the last 3-4 years on the non-white fleeces. I think I was kind of burned out on them. I think I was ready for a white fleece. And I said in the opening thing that I was focused on tools, and one of the things I was specifically keeping my eye open for was a Turkish drop spindle. I have one. I do not get along well with it. It just absolutely refuses to have any spin to it. And I blamed the maker of the spindle not really knowing what it needed, or something being awry with the actual spindle with it. It's a small one, it was inexpensive, and I just kind of wrote it off to, okay, I didn't get a good spindle. Well, the next thing I saw was a woodworker who had various Turkish spindles, and I have come to the conclusion that, I don't know, woodworkers I'm sure aren't spinners. But I think if they are spinners, or are married to or have a spinner in the family, they make better spindles. I did not get to try his Turkish. I propped it up in a bowl and gave it a spin, and it didn't wobble right, but I didn't get to try it because when you do that, it's not going to spin long anyway, because I didn't have any fiber. I had once upon a time, getting ready to go to this, thought about maybe sticking some fiber in my pocket, but I never did it. And the other times that I found people, vendors that had Turkish spindles, they had fiber. They had a test one where there was fiber on it, and I got to test them. But I vowed I was not going to buy the spindle without testing it. So I didn't buy. I mean, wasn't interested, but I learned something. They have these great big ones, and I'm looking at it, and I thought, well, shoot, this has got a lot of weight to it. It should spin pretty good, right? And so I took the small one and the large one, and I said, what is the difference in the prices on these spindles? And he says, oh, the plying Turkish spindle is $32. And I said, the plying? Oh, I said, that they don't consider using the big one for spinning? He says, you can. He says, but you'll spin a thick yarn. Well, okay, because it had pretty thick shaft, I guess. Or the weight. You have to have a thicker yarn for the weight of the spindle. It was pretty heavy. So I learned that. I didn't realize they did plying Turkish and regular. But it seems like they want to make the regular ones really, really small. I want a nice medium size. Not as big as the plying, but something between the small one and the plying. And they don't seem to make it. He didn't have it. And the only other place I found Turkish spindles was later on at Susan's Fiber Shop. Her big display had Turkish, and she's the one that had fiber on there, and I tried, and it was a little one, just like the other guy had, and I tried it, and it wouldn't spin. I mean, it even had, the starter leader on it, and it had some wrapped around the arms and everything. It just, as soon as I flick it, it seems, and get my hands back up to where I want to draft, it's dead in the water. So there might be a trick to it that I am missing. I know my one friend spins on a Turkish all the time. I'm going to talk to her about it. Because I know it's possible. I've seen people do it. Hi, Veggie. It's a yikes that it stops spinning. Yeah. I am very, very spoiled. I like top whirl, not bottom whirl. I know that's what part of it is. Hey, oh, yay, oh, hi. And after I left that place that had the spindle, I walked around the corner, and right down there on the floor was a robot. And it was just like going forward, I was like, it's a robot. Well, turns out right there was a booth, and there was a lady and a lady and a gentleman, and she was knitting away and he was tapping away on the computer, and I said, "Is this yours?" And I said, "Okay, who's the techie?" Right? And he raised his hand, and I said, "Oh, that is so cool." So that's how you evidently keep your partner amused at fiber fairs. You get him a robot to whiz around the place. Um, it was functional, by the way, because it had what looked like a clothespin mouth, and they were whizzing it around with their business card. Excuse me for hitting the mic. Their business card in the robot's mouth, right? I saw it any number of times during the rest of the time I was in that building. Unfortunately, they were somewhat local. They're in Bloomington, Indiana, but she has a yarn store, so not fiber. Which, I mean, that's nice. Probably my most local yarn store. Unfortunately, there is just no independent yarn stores around here at all anymore. But I hate to have to drive 3 hours to get to my local yarn store. I guess people do, though. Spinning related objects for sale. Yeah. Let's see. Right after that, I came to a booth that the very first thing that caught my eye was dyed cocoons. I can show those. I got those right here. I've not messed around with those much. Hardly at all. I can't say that I've messed around with them at all. Now they are in a nice little bag here. But we got green ones, purple ones, blue ones, dark blue, aqua blue. So before I bought these, I went and talked to the lady that was sitting there. She was crocheting, and I said, I brought these up, and see they have a hole. They're trimmed on the end here. I said, do you know, can you reel silk off of this by when it has the top, open up like this? I said, or is this for just snipping up and blending into making an art yarn, blending it into your blend to spin, making an art yarn with the snipped up silk in it? She says, no. She said, you can't really reel it. She said, but you make a hanky. You make a silk hanky. She says, there's a process to make a silk hanky. And she said, she had taken a class on it. She says, I can kind of hazy give you details. She said, but I'm not really good about saying specifically. She says, I know it involves water and heat, and you have to have something to, after you work it open, to stretch it on so it dries, right? But you know what a silk hanky looks like. I think you would know. Maybe not, but it's a square that's usually always kind of thick on the edges and real thin but still intact. So what happens is you take your cocoon, after you get it soft enough, whatever degumming process you have to do, and just start this way. It's like drafting into a square, right? And you just keep going and going and going. That's the goal being, don't break it, leave it as intact as possible. And that then should be, she said you only need 4 points. I have a, I don't know, it might be too big, but I have a square triangle, I mean a square loom, right, where you thread this way and you do your warp this way. It's about this big. I don't know if that'll work or not. So I have spun silk hankies, veggie. I love spinning silk hankies. What you do is when you buy them, they're in that square, okay, which is how they get that square by opening these cocoons up that way and pegging them on something to dry. And then what you do is you actually put your fingers in the center and make a hole in the center of that hanky, open it up, and you just kind of keep opening it up this way, right, until you have a fair amount all around the edge, and then you break so that you have a strip. And then you take that strip and you just start drafting little bit slowly on down the strip until you get it the thinness that you spin, and that's what you spin. That's how you spin a silk hanky. And if I can get these, I gotta Google about getting them degummed. I'm gonna get, and that's why I bought, this was $10. I'm willing to waste and experiment and learn and everything. But once I get that and get one going good, I'll do it on stream and show it, because I just think it's so cool. Now, I had hoped that I could soften it and, grab an edge on the edge of this little hole here and just pull off, and like they would reel it. And I may try that, but I have a feeling it's not going to work. So, yeah, I love that. And I didn't bring them in with me. Darn. Okay, this same person was selling cotton plants, and I bought 2 potted, started, little tiny cotton seedlings. I'll try and bring that next stream. Well, which is going to be a couple weeks because I'm going on vacation, but I'll show them to you before I kill them. I shouldn't kill them, but hopefully I can get them to grow. I have silk hankies I could spin too. And in fact, I think the nano would be perfect. So I can put that on my list of gotta show it projects on a stream sometime. It is not a silky thread, single. It is like spinning two-saw silk instead of silk top, if you know what I mean. It's a little rougher when you spin hankies. It's sort of like the difference between top and roving, right? It's illegal to grow in Texas. Yes, I know. I don't plan to, I'm okay because we have no cotton anywhere around here at all. You have to be, it's not illegal, but you have to be 20 miles away or something like that. Well, there is no cotton anywhere near here. But mine more than likely will be inside. Just maybe on the front porch during the summer. It depends on when it actually flowers, because I would want it pollinated. But yeah, I know it's actually illegal many places in the South. And this is white cotton. It is not the green or brown variety. But back to the silk cocoons, there are 2 more fiber fairs coming up near me. One is May 22nd in Lexington, and then May, sometime in May, mid-May, there's one up in Indiana. Not far. That one's less than an hour from me. And so I really want to take a class at that one that's closer. And so I was looking at the class, and oh man, I found a good one. It is a full day class, and it is all about reeling silk off of silk cocoons. They have the original kind of reelers, right? They showed it in the photo. And so I if I get to take that class, I will learn a lot, even for doing it here at home. And then they say that, bring a spinning wheel or drop spindle or something, because you're going to spin what you reel. I have a gnat right here in front of my fiber and face. That's annoying. Happy spring. Happy birthday, Nat. You probably just hatched. I don't even have any fruit in the house. I just realized I don't have my... I moved this, didn't I, when I was showing the fleece. I don't have the... Here. Here we go. Didn't have the bobbin in the camera. What happened to my little piece of fluff? I am exhausted. Alright, so we went up there Thursday. That was a nice, easy day. Friday, we got there and I went around, and it's high energy. I mean, I went around twice, talked to lots of people. So, and then had to drive home. So yesterday, did a few things, but not much. And today I had to pull all the clothes packing for me and, basically clean out the fridge, do the dishes. I ran the vacuum, did all that little housework stuff before I got on this today, so I'm really tired. I'm going to leave in the morning. We'll be in Florida on Tuesday evening at my mom's. Hubby has Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday and Sunday if he needs it, or we don't need outside help, like a repair person to take care of the broken window and the messed up screening on the screen porch. We hope to leave the following Monday and come back Tuesday, which means it's going to be a week from this Thursday before I will be back streaming again. This was not planned. A storm went through, golf ball size hail did damage, so we have to go fix it. It was not a planned trip. It's not been good for him either. He did get the mowing caught up, but it's been raining a lot, so it's kind of hard. But it is what it is. I'll take care of it. And I'll have more of a break while we're down there. I'm going to take my knitting. I'm not going to take any spinning. I'll take my knitting. Hello, spammer. I didn't think. Oh, you know what? They put a space between the name and .com, and that allowed them to post that link. All right. They figure out everything, don't they? And she's got her hammer, her moderator hammer. So there's no way for me to delete that chat, just his. I'd have to clear the chat, right? Or does it get, it's not X'd out by, I banned and reported him, but it's not X'd out. Is it X'd out in your chat? I don't think Xing it out really helps. Still can read it. You should be able to. Huh. Okay. I wonder if it's in something. I have to be in the video producer. Do I have that up? I don't think I have that up. Maybe I do. You still see it? Yeah, okay. I mean, I do too, even though I banned it. And they can't post anymore after I ban it, but the thing that gets me about these kind of postings is they always say Twitch users since 2016. I think they use, I use OBS. I think they find inactive accounts and hack them or something. I don't know. Let's see if I got. Maybe I can learn something. Maybe I can figure out how to take it off. The gear in the lower right, that's where I was, should let you toggle moderator actions. Yes. All right. Oh, you know what? I was on non-mod. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that is part of it. I am not finding anything. All I got is okay. All I got on the gear is block and thing. Block and the gear. Or it's icons. It'll pop up 3 icons next to the individual's name for banning, timing out, or deleting a message. But banning should have cleared it. No, it doesn't. I have, when I, oh, you know, they have a new one here. Let me check this new. I have monitor and restrict under a, if you click his name, I have monitor and restrict, which is new. Okay, it's a little flag at the top. And then I just went to the Twitch, which I didn't want to do. Clicking his name. Then the 3 dots, I have add friend, whisper, gift sub. The 3 dots is unblock and report. I have a timeout and I have a ban. Oh, what happens if I... Okay, I banned him too. That did it. That did it. No, it didn't. It's still there. Yeah, the message was... it's under ban. It's a... Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah. Okay. I have never been doing that step. I've just been blocking and reporting. So, there. I learned. Good. Now I know. Because they pop up all the time. And you tell me if I click on their Twitch, I mean, you know, it goes to their channel, it says they're offline. I mean, how does that work? I don't get it. Is it a hit and run? I doubt it. While I was at the Fiber Fair, once in a while we talk about, you know, I stream on Twitch, stream spinning on Twitch, and these are spinners, right? But they are like giving me this stare, like, what? What are you talking about? They obviously aren't internet people. I probably shouldn't be either. I'd probably get a lot more done if I didn't get on the internet, but it is what it is. I like the internet. Oh, that's what that means. So, oh, okay. Well, that, all right. Mine would say offline too. Then. Yeah, you're right. Even if I was on somebody watching somebody and I posted in the chat. Okay, that's why. Duh. You think I'd understand this stuff? That's all right, Veggie. You get to teach me. It's very helpful. What are you working on today, by the way? Anything? Just... You shouldn't be. This is Sunday. Did you do anything for Easter? I was so disappointed. The Easter Bunny didn't come to my house. There was no basket of candy waiting for me this morning when I woke up. Oh well. Adulting is so hard. Adulting makes you wait till the day after Easter so you can go get the candy on sale. Something springy. Yeah. It does look nice here. We've got redbud, which is a purple flowered tree blooming, and Bradford pears, which is a white flowering tree blooming. my daffodils were a lot earlier. They're pretty much done. And I don't plant any other kind of bulbs like tulips and all that because the underground critters that live here at my house just think I gave them the best snack ever. They eat them right away. Squirrels will even dig them up and eat them. So I don't bother. The only thing they won't dig up and eat is daffodils. And their nasturtium, or not nasturtium, narcissus. No baskets here either. I, can't complain. I certainly did some gift buying on Friday. Oh, you made deviled eggs? You'll make jalapeno poppers and burgers. That's your Easter meal, huh? It's better than us. We're having leftovers to clean the fridge before we travel. Hubby's having pork chops he grilled the other day. I had some tomato soup before I got on stream. You really? You air fried some eggs? Huh. You didn't flip them or anything. You just crack them in there, put them in the air fryer, and then you got hard fried egg. I had the best sandwich. I told you I ate a lot while we were up there, and where we stayed Thursday night had a restaurant, and it was on rye bread, and it was fried egg, bacon, and cheese. And they paninied it, right? They smooshed it and grilled it. Oh, that was so good. You cooked them to be hard boiled. Oh my gosh. It worked? You didn't have to pierce them? Oh my gosh. I didn't know you could do that. Did they peel good? Do you know my you don't have to pierce them. Okay. You know my trick to get them to peel is as soon as I cook them there. I cook mine 12 minutes. It's a little longer, I think, than really needed, but I like to make sure it's good and hard. And then I dump it in the eggs straight into a bowl of ice water, and they peel real well all the time. My daughter has an air fried. I'll have to tell her, see if she's ever done that. Feel pretty good, huh? You did the ice water too? Yeah. Good. I think that is part of the getting them to peel. Been eating. I had hard boiled some, and I've been eating them in salad. I have 3 left. I was going to make egg salad today, but I think they'll keep until I get back. In the fridge. I could make it for supper. I may still do that. You thought you saved some water or time? Well, how long? How long were they in the air fryer? I swear I'd do that and it'd explode, and make a mess. I don't know. You have to put them in a bowl, sit them on the rack. Tell me all about it. I've thought about getting an air fryer, I just haven't done it. 14 minutes, okay. No preheating, put eggs right from the fridge. Yeah. I pull my eggs out about an hour before I start the water, and then bring the water up to a real hard boil and drop them in. Do them 8 minutes or 12 minutes. I always want to say 8 minutes because that's what it always said in the recipe, but I do it 12 minutes and then straighten the ice. I don't know. Given the choice between putting an egg in there and cooking and eating it and putting pre-cut cookie dough, I think cookie dough would win unless it really doesn't work in an air fryer. Ooh, I gotta take a break after this one. I need a good stretch. You haven't tried? Now you want a cookie? All right. My fingers need some stretching. I need to get more music came to the end of my page here. Let's click another page. Trying to think. Oh, okay. So I went to. That was all. Everything I've talked about so far was in the first building. So the second building was nothing specifically. Yeah, okay. Was one vendor. I didn't buy. I went back twice. Man, you talk about. I went back twice and didn't buy it. But she had in either small 1 ounce balls or Ziploc bags of 8 ounces of Shetland. No, I think it was Jacob. It was Jacob because it was 3 colored sheep. It was that was all she had. And what she had done was take all the fleeces and divide up and put the light white color together. And then, you get a gray and you get, definitely get a brown. So she put all these colors as close as she could and sent it to the mill, Zylinger mill, and told them to process those colors together. And I don't know how much she did of each, to each color or whatever, but that's how she packaged it. Either you bought the color all as one color in a bag, or you bought a bag with, I think it was 8 1-ounce balls. It was $80 it was $10 an ounce, basically. And I just couldn't make myself pay that. All natural colored, nothing, She was wearing a sweater out of her colors that was just beautiful color work. It was really pretty. She had several hats that she had knitted that were also that way, the multiple colors. So it's no different than what I do at home, right? When I buy a Jacob, that's exactly what I do with it. And I have spun the colors separately that way. I have a hat made out of Jacob where I took the colors in specific orders and did exactly the same thing. It was just so well done. She is the vendor. I complimented her. I said, it's an original idea. I really applaud you for doing it because it's a lot of work and yeah, it's worth the $10 an ounce for all that work and mill cost, right? Mill cost. But mills, some of them wash it for you, some of them don't. But anyway, I was so tempted. And I walked away twice. Saw more fleece. It was Shetland, and I have purchased from that vendor before, and I didn't like it. I didn't bother this time. I already had my eye on, fleeces from the one lady in the first building, so I just thought, no, I pretty much know this vendor. I don't want to. There were no animals at the fiber fair. Now that's different. But I remember years past, I even saw a lamb being born at one of the fiber fairs there at Greencastle, because it was, it's always right around Easter. It's always early spring, and that's when lambs are being born. No rabbits. The lady who often brings rabbits wasn't there. But there are several others I have seen in the area, fiber fairs, that bring rabbits. No llamas, no alpacas, just no animals at all at this fair this year. Only sheepy smell I got was from the fleece tables. And in the second building, Susan Fiber Shop, that's up in Wisconsin, it's been in business forever, was there. She had something, she had blending boards, and was, she teaches a lot. I have to say, she when I went to the last fiber fair I went to in the fall last year, I bought the Nano from her. Okay, and she remembers me. She knows me, and she had the Daedalus there, or the 6.0. I'm not sure which one it was. She had the bigger version, a bigger version there. I think it was the 6.0, and I told my husband, I said, see, now that's what happens. You buy the Nano, and then you want to buy the next one for plying, right? And I said, and she's right there with it. Right there, she's got it right there. And she said, yeah, she said she had a really hard time getting them. And while I was there, one girl did buy one. I knew I wasn't going to. It's too close to this Roberta. I don't need it. But she had it. She had the Turkish spindles that I tried and couldn't get to spin. So I may be destined to only do top whirl spinning. I don't know. I didn't ask her about it. She's always busy. She let me play with the Nano a lot. That in last fall when I saw her, she wasn't as busy, and I did a lot of spinning on it before I actually bought it. Hi, Mass Bandit. I am doing good. How How are you today? Are you staying healthy? I am getting ready to travel. I will be gone for a couple weeks. We're going to Florida. It's an unplanned trip. It's to my mom's house because something needs repaired. They had a storm down there, so we have to go down there and take care of that. But it's still going to be a nice little getaway. It certainly isn't warm here yet. Oh, man, it's still cold outside. You worked, therefore you hurt, yes. I thought maybe you were working today. I hurt yesterday and still a little bit this morning everywhere because I walked. I went to the Fiber Fair on that Friday, and I walked so much. I am walking without my cane. I mean, the knees are healed and I'm doing fine, but I do still don't have my muscles back yet, and my muscles hurt when I use them like that. After all these years of babying them because my knees hurt, I didn't use them like I should. I should pull this out and make it into a ball now. It's starting to stick together. Getting close to the end here. I think I'm going to tangle it. There's the other end. That helps. There we go. There. Alright, so the last story I have to tell about the Fiber Fair, and then I'm gonna probably do a little bit more show and tell and call it a stream. In that second building, I saw a couple, a husband and wife sitting. They were of my age, and they were sitting at this booth. The booth was set up with a big table, and the vendor was behind the table, and the vendor was a lady that was sitting doing combing, and she was talking to the other lady that was sitting there first. And so I stood there for a little bit and watched her and listened, and and sat down and decided that I'd stay and watch a little bit because the first thing I learned was she's a carpenter, and when the pandemic hit and nobody was doing any kind of work, right? She also was not getting any jobs, right, as a carpenter. You're excited this year. Your mother-in-law and you might go to the what's DFW? What's DFW? Fiber Fair. Delaware? No. Dallas Fort Worth. Okay. I knew you were in Texas, but I'm not familiar with your fiber fairs down there, so. Ooh, that is it. Have you been there before? Is it a big one? And it's in the fall, huh? September. There's one near me in Ohio in September that I like to go to a lot. I'll probably go to that one. So, she's not having any work as a carpenter, so she's working out in her workshop, and her mother is a spinner. And in the process of watching her mom comb with the great big combs, the indigo hound and all that, and they're big and they're heavy and they're sharp, and in the process of watching all that, she started designing combs for combing fiber, and she put a ton of thought into this, and she's very creative. She's very, very creative. And so what she has designed looks about as big as a wooden TV tray, right? And it's book-like, so it folds closed. And when you open it up, and the one side you clamp to a table, because you are going to be pulling against it, so you have to clamp. And right there in front of you are two places where you set the two combs with just like a wood peg to hold it in place, just like you do with the big indigo hound. However, these are half the height. They're two-tined. They're a nice width. They're about as wide as your nano bobbin, or actually this bobbin, right? This bobbin. I mean, they're a nice width, so you're going to get a lot of fiber on them. And you got the two there, and you don't have to hold them, and they're lightweight. And she makes the combs, and she makes them with dull tips instead of the points. And I talked to her a lot about that. I said, I thought you had to have the points in order to go through the fiber. She says, you don't. She says, that's a misrepresentation of hundreds of years of the early days where combing fiber was done by men. They had the comb attached to the barn wall. The comb was as big as both of their hands, and they needed the strength and muscles to go through, and to get that bite of that much fiber. They were doing so much fiber at once. To get that bite, they made the tips sharp. But if you are working with smaller amounts, and it just isn't necessary. And I believe her, because I actually sat there and did some combing on my second round. When I came back and said, do you mind if I try this? Right? I want to feel how heavy they are. And in that, she includes 3 different thicknesses of the tines of the combs. They're both two-tined, but 3 different thicknesses of the rod, right? So you have a fine, a medium, and a heavy. So your heavy would be for your real open locks, like Lincoln, or something like that. I mean, you're really open. Your medium's going to be for like Romney and those kind of breeds, and your fine is for your Merino and Cormo and that sort of thing. And you put you lash onto, if you're going to do fine, you lash onto your medium and comb with the fine. You can either relash that and do it the same way, or use the medium for the second combing. And the really nice part is you're not holding them by your hand. They're right there pegged, so you take it off of one, the fiber's all on the one and it's pegged. You just unpeg it and use the other one. Right, there's no really going back and forth as far as moving your fiber at all. She makes the diz that you use. That's a beautiful piece of wood, and it uses an orifice hook to catch to pull through the hole and diz it off. So anyway, this whole thing is what she was selling at Friday on the Fiber Fair. She used to sell on Etsy. She underpriced them when she first started selling them. I wish I'd seen it then, because now her price is a couple $100 more. And this is what I'm thinking about, because I think I really want it. But I'm going to see her again, and I got her contact information, but I'm going to see her again at the May show. She's going to be there. So it's going to be a big expense, just like my drum carder was. But it's kind of the equivalent of being able to do the fiber as top in a quantity just like you can do on the drum carder with the big drum, if that makes sense. But you end up with top. She also showed me that I was always saying there's a whole bunch of waste with, and she showed me that there really doesn't have to be. Because when I did the way I comb the first time through, I said, I'm not getting any more off, and I have all this waste. And she looked at that and she says, there's a ton more you can get off there. And she took it and she spread it out. She went a different direction than I'm used to going, because, okay, it was like going perpendicular to the comb that was lashed, which you can do. And the reason you can do it is what makes it ergonomic is it's just not one hand holding the comb. You can put your hand flat on those dull ends of the rods, and you can comb this way, so that you have a little bit more control, and you have both hands sort of distributing the motion, right? It's just not a constant, my right hand only, my right shoulder only, right? You're distributing the motion a little bit. She purposely says that she did a lot of thinking about the ergonomics of it, and I believe that she did. And I believe she's really got good idea, but it's going to be a hard sell, I think, for people to want to put that kind of money into it. Beautiful wood, and looks, the only thing that I would have to buy in addition are good strong bar clamps, which is what she used. She doesn't provide the clamps, so I'd have to get woodworking bar clamps to clamp it to a table. And again, just like I have my drum carder, or if I use my big Indigo Hound, I have to move my drum carder to the side and clamp my Indigo Hound to that workmate. I use a workmate. You can't move a workmate, right? You can pull against that as much as you want. It's not going anywhere. Poor hubby will never get his workmate back. And I have my drum carder on. So I probably would have to use the workmate for that too. Because you do pull against it, right? You can't just use a regular big table would be all right. A TV tray would not, right? So it all depends. What I really want to do is get my daughter to go with me, and talk to this lady. My daughter is going to be the recipient of these eventually. I want her to know the value of them, the time that's involved making them. I want her to know, the theory behind it, right? I want her to talk to the creator too. This lady's name is Beth Duncan. She has no internet presence. She was on Etsy. She took everything off Etsy. When I picked up her card, she says, "Oh, I said, I'm going to be contacting you. It's going to be Yarn Spinners. So you remember who, it may or may not say my name, but it'll be Yarn Spinners. And you can remember that." And she looked at her email that's on the card. Oh man, this isn't the right email either. So focused on the total creative process of production and work and that sort of thing. The details kind of drift away, don't they? So I got her right email address, but she does not really have an internet presence right now. She is a startup. I mean, obviously I think she said there's 6 that she sold through Etsy. So there's 6 out there somewhere already, but I am so intrigued. I love origin stories. I love people who think about making tools and then make a tool, right? I'm going to change this. I think I'm done spinning. I'm getting a crick in my neck. But that's what I'm talking about. This is an origin story. This is how this tool developed. It's something that nobody else has done. Oh yeah, they've done the combs that clamp, but they haven't done the dull points so that you can protect and distribute to your 2 shoulders and that sort of thing. So I totally approve. And when I asked her the price, finally, and she told me $650 is what she's asking right now. And I said, oh man, if I'd been on The Price is Right, I would have won it. Because that's what I figured. I figured exactly $650. I was really, hoping it might be less. I really was. I was really hoping. But knowing my drum carter had been 600 years and years and years ago, knowing that my Roberta now sells for over $1,000, right? Tools, yeah, lasting tools don't lose their value, and it's something you have to consider when you consider buying them. So I am still thinking about it. I may lose it. I may not. I may not do it. But if I do, I will definitely be showing it off on the stream because it's pretty cool. I have a couple other things to show off. I did buy fiber. I said I wasn't going to buy any dyed fiber. And do you know, there was something about walking around and looking at all these braids of dyed fiber. It was like, yeah, that looks like what I have. That looks like what I have. That looks like what I have. That looks like what I have, right? It wasn't triggering me to say, ooh, I want that. I like that. I want that. But you walk into a booth and you see a whole huge back wall of the booth displaying all different colors of fiber in this size ball. You just gotta buy it. It just looks so nummy. This is 8 ounces. It is 70% Romney, 30% mohair, raised by person who sold it. It is Spinning Moon Farm. They are in Michigan. And You threw your money too. So here's my story about this though. So there's all these colors. I mean, I was like, I want one of each. Right? I can't do that. This was $25, by the way. This was $25. I feel that's a good price. But you start buying multiple colors and you're getting up there pretty quick. So hubby's standing out there in the aisle, just kind of like looking forlorn, and and I thought, well, maybe he wants a little input on this. And I went over there and I said, what color do you like? I'm having a hard time deciding. What color do you like? And he says, well, why ask me? Why ask me? You buy what you want. Go buy what you want, right? Typical male response. But he walks into the booth with me. And I go and I pick up a sea blue color. And I walk over to the register. And I hear this voice behind me saying, why'd you pick blue? I said, well, what should I have picked? He said, well, why didn't you get green? I've been married to this man 25 years. I do love him. He makes me laugh. If nothing else, he makes me laugh. So I bought the green. It is nummy. I can't wait to spin it. It is just nummy fiber. And the very last thing was the very first thing I bought. Because I bought a bag. And I bought a bag because it just cracked me up. It's not a stash. Let me find the camera. It's not a stash. It's insulation. Look at that cute. Look at those cute sheep. My new favorite bag. I love it. Sweatered sheep. It's not a stash. I told him, that's my saying. That's exactly what I was going to say, Veggie. I told him when I went up to check out, I said, this is, out of my mouth, We've all said it. Okay. Mark your calendars. I will be back. What is today? The 17th. No. We're in April, silly. Get on the right day here. I will be back Thursday, the 28th of April. I may be here sooner, but I will definitely stream then. So until then, everybody have a wonderful April. I hope lots of good spring weather. It's been great talking about my Fiber Fair adventures. I enjoyed it so much. And Veggie, it's been great talking to you. Really enjoyed having you hang out. Glad you stopped by, Mass Bandit. And you all take care. Bye.